Hello there. We are Team C here. There is myself, Judith, and the rest of the team are Christine, Gillian, Edwina, and at the helm there is Alistair. We're recording this on a very rainy Wednesday, the 14th of November. And I'll start with the Armistice services. Armistice 100. The area remembers fallen of Great War. East Dunbartonshire honoured the fallen on Armistice Day to mark 100 years since the end of World War I on Sunday, November the 11th. Services organised by local churches and community councils took place at Auchinairn, Baldernock, Bishopbriggs, Kirkintilloch, Lennoxtown, Mulgai, Milton of Campsie, Torrens, Twecher and Woodylea. A service organised by East Dunbartonshire Council was also held at the War Memorial at Bearsden Cross. And there are several photographs of the events. There are pictures honouring the fallen outside at Peel Park. There are a group of people standing with various flags of various denominations, and local dignitaries at the Festival of Remembrance, led by the Reverend Mark Johnson at St Mary's Church. And there are 5 people in this photograph, and in the background there is an outline in metal of a World War I soldier holding a rifle. At Bearsden there is a photograph of someone in military uniform laying a wreath of poppies at the memorial, with quite a large crowd in the background and someone holding a Union Jack. And councillor leader Vaughan Moody laid a wreath at Kirkintilloch. And there are, at the base of one of the memorials, there are several poppy wreaths which have been laid from various churches and local groups. And in the Cowgate, there is a people marching through to the honouring of the fallen. There's people braving the rain in Cowgate, all walking along with their colourful umbrellas. And in Bishopbriggs, it must have been in the dark, it looks very dark, there's a piper, Scott Robinson, playing at the memorial. It must have been late in the evening because there are floodlights, all the street lights are on, and he himself is the lone piper. Residents campaign against library cuts. Residents are organising campaigns against the proposed closure of 3 East Dunbartonshire libraries. East Dunbartonshire Leisure Trust announced recently its plans to shut public libraries in Lenzie, Milton of Campsie and Westerton. Jamie Maguire is the chairman of Milton of Campsie Community Council. He said, "This morning I was in the bakery with a lot of mums who had just dropped their kids off at school. They did not have a single kind word for the council." Mr Maguire is distributing petitions to local businesses in the village and has plans to create an online version. He's also organising public demonstrations. He added, "We're being targeted because of the footfall in the library, but we're a small rural community. The library is well used by locals, but there's no chance we can compete with the bigger towns in East Dunbartonshire." Mr Maguire said he felt that financial contributions from property developers building houses in the village should be used to keep the library open. Calla Homes alone have donated £60,000 to the council, but this has gone into a central reserve. The village didn't see any of that money, but it could have been used to maintain our public services, he added. Milton of Campsie Community Council held its monthly meeting on Monday, just days after news emerged of the planned library closures. Mr Maguire said, "That was a heated meeting. Community councillors and members of the public tore into the council. Copies of Milton of Campsie Community Council's petition can be found at the Cooperative, Scotmid, Gentlemen's Barbers, the Village Bakery, the Post Office, Chemist, Village Hall and Craighead Primary School." East Dunbartonshire Leisure Trust is a council-owned organisation which operates cultural services including libraries. Its board voted to close the 3 village libraries as part of cost-saving efforts across the authority area. Councillor Susan Murray, Lib Dem, Kirkintilloch East and North and Twecher, is a member of the Trust's board and voted in favour of the library closures. She recently told the Kirkintilloch Herald, "When every penny counts and funding is shrinking, EDLC has to listen to their customers and give value for money. This has resulted in a big investment in East Dunbartonshire libraries and has changed how the service is delivered in modern, flexible surroundings linked to the council hubs. More people of all ages and backgrounds are choosing these libraries, and this safeguards the future of library services. The smaller libraries are not so well used. They have not been deliberately run down. Their stock has been regularly changed and kept up to date. They are simply not able to deliver the level of service that most people want, and people are voting with their feet." Praise for Project for Homeless. Local MP Joe Swinson heard some moving stories during a recent visit to a project in Kirkintilloch that provides temporary accommodation for young people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. The Canal project is run by Action for Children and has been in operation since 2004, helping young people aged 16 to 26 who've left or are in the process of leaving care. In addition to providing temporary accommodation in a modern, purpose-built facility, the project offers support to help them move into more positive futures, including gaining life skills to assist them in sustaining tenancies. Young people are helped to find training or work opportunities and to develop skills such as cooking and budgeting to help them to move to independent living. The Canal project also offers a general counselling and support service, including befriending, advising on food preparation, reminding and non-specialist counselling. Joe said, "It was great to visit the Canal project. I heard moving stories from past residents about the challenges they had faced, particularly when it came to mental health, and how it was amazing to see how the Canal project had supported them and helped them to kickstart their adult lives." Fiona Steele, Operational Director at Action for Children, said, "At Canal, working with the Council, we provide housing support to young people aged 16 to 26 years to develop independent living skills and to assist them with the transition to maintain a future tenancy. Our support is wide-ranging and specific to the needs of the young person. Our young people very much enjoyed meeting Ms Swinson, sharing their experiences and explaining how they have benefited."
Hello everyone, this is Christine. My first item, acknowledgements. Willie Roger. The family of Willie Roger would like to thank the medical and care home staff who looked after Willie during his final illness, Reverend Mark Johnson and his officers at St Mary's Parish Church in Kirkintilloch for all their support and comfort, Alistair Lawson of J&D Lawson Limited Funeral Directors Kirkintilloch and his staff for their gentle empathy and exemplary professionalism, and the countless strangers who posted so touchingly on social media, and all those family and friends who attended at the church and graveside in such numbers to say goodbye to a unique and much-loved man. The comment. The day the whole country fell silent. There will always be mixed feelings about Armistice Day and how, as a nation, we mark that special event. Parades across the country marked 100 years since World War I ended, and even at every football or rugby match, whether played on Saturday or Sunday, fans and players felt silent to remember those who gave so much. But one of the events which really set the tone to mark the special anniversary was the Remembrance Concert held at the Royal Albert Hall on Saturday evening. The annual Festival of Remembrance in London, which commemorates the war dead, was attended by the Queen and other senior royals. Performances from Sir Tom Jones, Sheridan Smith, and many others were simply stunning. But there couldn't have been a dry eye in any household when the royals stood as thousands of people in the audience held up photos of World War I soldiers and the Chelsea pensioners walked onto the stage. Poppies fell from the ceiling of the iconic venue after the last post was played. There was a standing ovation as servicemen and women entered the hall. What a way to mark the special anniversary. And that's accompanied by a thought from Florence Nightingale. I attribute my success to this. I never gave or took any excuse.
Hello there. Nice to be back with you. Gillian here after a wee break. And my first rendering here is entitled Golden Day for Oxgang Pupils. And there's a nice photograph of wee boys and girls from Oxgang, all looking very smart with their Gold School Sport Award. This report's by Liz Gallagher. Oxgang Primary School in Kirkintilloch has received a top award for innovation and achievement in delivering school sport. Staff and pupils recently received the Sport Scotland Gold School Sport Award. Oxgang is among 284 schools awarded gold status across the country, a record number and a jump of over a third from 216 to 217. As part of the National Lottery funded programme, the Sport Scotland School Sport Award is a national initiative designed to encourage schools to continuously improve sport. The award also encourages sporting links between schools and the communities around them. Hannah Young, acting head teacher at Oxgang Primary School, said, "We are delighted to be awarded the Sport Scotland Gold School Sport Award. We know how important physical activity and sport is to children, and the health and well-being curriculum is at the heart of everything we do at Oxgang. We strive to provide a range of clubs and activities for every pupil, working with staff, parents, volunteers and local clubs to deliver this. This award is a real team effort, but particular thanks go to the pupils on our sports committee who shared feedback from their classes and helped plan and improve our PE lessons as well as the clubs we offer. I would also like to highlight the work of our Active Schools team, who support us to plan our extracurricular clubs, and to our Primary 4 class teacher, who collated all the evidence we submitted." Now, a charity article here about a £30,000 boost for local groups. More than £30,000 has been awarded to a 23 East Dumbartonshire-based group this year by Glasgow Airport's Flight Path Fund. Those who have benefited include the Caldwell Halls Trust at Torrance, which received £2,500 to upgrade the flooring of the Community Hub's main hall. Stephen Horsburgh from Caldwell Halls Trust said, "Thanks to the support of the Flight Path Fund, we have now been able to replace the flooring in the main hall, which had been well worn over the years due to the countless number of activities and events it has hosted." Archie Hunter, chairman of the Flight Path Fund, said, "Glasgow Airport's Flight Path Fund has been a force for good throughout its neighbouring communities for more than 8 years now, and continues to support hundreds of charities and groups across 4 local authorities. I'm pleased to say this year has been exceptional, with the Flight Path Fund providing vital support to a diverse range of organisations, including young carer groups, primary and secondary school projects, community sports, and improvement groups and charities helping some of the most vulnerable people in society. Caldwell Halls Trust is a fine example of the projects supported by the fund, and the work being carried out by the organisation is fantastic.
Hi, it's Edwina. MPs backs government on inclusive education initiative. A local MSP is supporting proposals intended to deliver a more inclusive education system. Rona Mackay, the SNP member for Strathkelvin and Bearsden, has endorsed the Time for Inclusive Education pledges to promote an inclusive approach to sex and relationships education while tackling LGBTI, bullying and discrimination in schools. She said, "I am proud to stand in solidarity with our LGBTI community to ensure young people across Strathkelvin and Bearsden receive the inclusive education they deserve. During Scotland's Year of Young People, it is fitting for the Scottish Government to send a strong message of inclusivity, tolerance and respect to younger generations. Offensive, outdated views have no place in Scotland, and the Government is clear that any form of bullying or discrimination in our society will not be tolerated." MP Jo Swinson joins firms in Christmas Food Bank appeal. Local MP Jo Swinson is joining forces with local firms for her annual Christmas Food Bank collection. Working with businesses in the area, Jo is collecting donations for Eastern Bartonshire Food Bank, which has its main base in Kirkintilloch and also operates branches in Milngavie and Auchinairn. Jo said, "Christmas should be a time of good cheer, but for many people struggling to make ends meet, it can be particularly difficult. I'd also welcome any donations, either food or gifts, from local people too. They could make a world of difference for someone this Christmas. Donations should be dropped off by Thursday, December 6th at Jo's office, Unit 44C, Hunters Hill Village, 102 Crowhill Road, Bishopbriggs." Remember this. On November the 16th, 1961, British boxer Frank Bruno was born at Hammersmith Hospital in London. He began boxing professionally in 1982, beating his first opponent, Lupe Guerrera, at the Royal Albert Hall. The pinnacle of his career was winning the WBC heavyweight title in 1995, outpointing WBC champion Oliver McCall over 12 rounds. On November the 20th, 1951, Sonoria was granted national park status at 823 square miles. It is the largest national park in Wales and the third national park established in Britain. There's a lovely small photograph of the park, Sidonia, showing you the mountains and a river and lovely foliage and trees. There's an absolutely super picture of Frank Bruno, beautifully dressed in his suit and very, very smart. No boxing gloves in sight, just a handsome big guy.
Politicians in pothole cash clash. A row has blown up between Conservative and SNP politicians in Eastern Bartonshire over the condition of the area's roads. Local MSP Maurice Golden and the joint leader of Eastern Bartonshire Council, Councillor Andrew Paulson, are calling on the Scottish Government to use Westminster's new pothole fund, which they say is worth £41 million to Scotland. They say this cash was included in the recent budget from Chancellor Philip Hammond and should now be committed by the SNP in their own budget next month. But Milngavie SNP MSP Gil Patterson has accused the Tory politicians of stunning hypocrisy. He said, "The UK government have cut Scotland's budget by nearly £2 billion since 2010-2011. The Scottish Government has had to spend almost £1 billion plugging the gap caused by the UK Tory government's refusal to fund issues they're responsible for, like broadband, the bedroom tax and other welfare responsibilities. At the same time, in the Scottish Parliament, their Tory colleagues voted to cut the Scottish budget by £500 million. The Tories vote for Scotland's funding to be cut in Westminster, demand tax cuts and then plead for more money to be spent in Scotland. It just doesn't add up. However, Mr Golden said the state of local roads was one of the most common complaints he received from local residents. He said, "With winter upon us, the situation's only going to get worse. That is why the extra investment from the Chancellor is extremely welcome, and I would encourage the SNP government to use this funding to sort out the roads in East Dunbartonshire. Our roads have been neglected for too long as a result of the SNP cutting local authority budgets. It's now up to Derek Mackay to deliver real investment in his budget in order to make our roads better for locals and visitors." According to Mr Golden, the Scottish Conservatives have previously called on the Scottish Government to introduce pothole fund which local authorities could use to repair roads. Councillor Paulson added, "The SNP government have no excuses when it comes to fixing East Dunbartonshire's roads. The millions are there to be spent. In terms of attracting people to live and work in this region, having good quality roads is absolutely essential, and as leader of the East Dunbartonshire Council, it is a top priority for the Council. The SNP must now enable councils like East Dunbartonshire to use this extra funding in order to fix our pothole-ridden roads once and for all." Mr Patterson responded, "It's hard to believe the brass neck of the Tories, who in years gone by couldn't even get their council tax banding right and ended up with a bill for £250,000. The Scottish Finance Secretary gave East Dunbartonshire £157,000 additional funding last April as its share of an extra £10 million for road maintenance throughout Scotland. The Tory Lib Dem administration on East Dunbartonshire Council should get on and spend this extra funding on local roads."
Another prime prize for Family Butcher. A popular family-run butcher in Muirhead has been voted one of the best in the country for the 5th year. S. Collins and Son came second in the Scotland category of the Butcher's Shop of the Year Awards, which took place recently in London. This is the 5th year the shop has made it to the finals. It's also the 3rd accolade this year. In May, they won the Diamond Award at the Scottish Craft Butchers Awards, which named their beef burgers the best in Scotland. In October, they were named Best Family Business at the Glasgow Business Awards. Set up in Muirhead in 1955, S. Collins and Son is a 3rd-generation family butcher, which has won over 110 awards, including Scottish Butcher Shop of the Year twice, in 2012 and 2016. As well as the excellent quality of the meat, poultry and other products that it sells, the shop was recognised for its ability to adapt and diversify to market trends while still remaining a friendly, local, family-run business. In the last year, Stuart Collins has also refurbished and extended his shop to offer delicatessen and high-end grocery and bakery items, as well as takeaway food and drink. The judges were impressed with Collins' marketing innovations, from their gold loyalty card scheme for customers to the development of their own app, which shares promotions, news and recipes with customers. Stuart said, "We were delighted to make it to the final again for the 5th time in a row and very proud to be named as one of the 3 best butchers shops in Scotland. Coming second means we have something to strive for next year. We're always pushing to improve our offering and our customer experiences, so this will keep us on our toes. We have lots planned for 2019, so watch this space. And that's accompanied by a picture of Stuart. Let's put an end to puppy farming. A campaign has been launched highlighting the pitfalls of buying illegally bred puppies and the warning signs to look out for. Research shows that Scots are more likely to buy an illegally bred puppy than they might think, with only 24% of Scots buying from an approved breeder and 25% considering using an online advert or website to buy a puppy. Most illegally bred puppies are sold online through social media or small ad sites. Distressingly, 1 in 4 of pups bought online die before their 5th birthday, and 1 in 3 get sick or die in the first year. The Buy a Puppy Safely campaign was launched by the Minister for Rural Affairs and Natural Environment, Mary Gugan, as the Scottish Government calls on the public to learn about the warning signs of an illegally bred puppy. She said, "Illegal puppy farming only leads to misery. Many suffer from congenital health problems or behavioural problems, causing distress to owners and leading to expensive vet bills. So, we're working with animal welfare charities to raise awareness of the real consequences of buying illegally and highlighting how to spot the warning signs of an illegal dealer. I know that a lot of people will be considering buying a puppy at this time of year, so my message to them is to do your homework first. The most important thing is to see the puppy with its mother and to get the correct paperwork. If there's no mum and no paperwork, then walk away and report your concerns to the Scottish SPCA helpline." Mike Flynn, Scottish SPCA Chief Superintendent, added, "As part of our frontline fight against those involved in this criminal activity, we are spearheading Operation Delphin, a partnership with a number of organisations set up to end this cruel trade. Over the past year, we have also been raising public awareness of the barbaric puppy trade in Scotland through our collaborative Say No to Puppy Dealers campaign, and we are proud to support the Scottish Government on the launch of Buy a Puppy Safely." And that's actually accompanied by a photograph of Mary Gugan launching the Buy a Puppy Safely campaign, and she's accompanied by a gorgeous-looking, creamy-coloured Labrador.
A piece about Anti-Bullying Week entitled "Adults Must Be Better Role Models and Show Respect." Children want adults to show more respect for each other, as worrying numbers of 11 to 16-year-olds witness adults setting a bad example by bullying each other. The results of a poll published by the Anti-Bullying Alliance for the Anti-Bullying Week 2018 suggest that more than 4 in 10 children, that's 41%, have seen adults bullying each other during the last 6 months, with an even greater number, 60%, witnessing grown-ups being disrespectful to other adults. More than 4 in 5 of the children polled, 87%, also reported having seen children bullying each other. The majority, 76%, had seen this happen at school, with a third, 34%, seeing it online. Nearly half of the children surveyed, 45%, said they had been bullied face-to-face at least once during the last 6 months, with over a third, 34%, saying they had been bullied online over the same period. The Anti-Bullying Alliance, with the support of Safe2Net, is encouraging everyone to choose respect during an anti-bullying week. Martha Evans, Director of the Anti-Bullying Alliance, said, Children who experience bullying are at a higher risk of experiencing a range of mental health issues and leaving school with fewer qualifications. The impact of bullying can last well into adulthood. We need children to learn that we don't have to be the best friends with each other or always agree with each other, but this is never an excuse for bullying or hurtful behaviour. We must always choose respect. We are urging adults to role model the choose respect message and help us stop bullying in schools to prevent it from affecting so many children's lives. Anti-Bullying Week runs until November the 16th. Now, talking point. We've got more facts and figures here about children having tonsils removed. 40,000 UK children a year have their tonsils removed. 7 in 8 children have their tonsils removed unnecessarily. Unnecessary tonsillectomies cost the NHS £40 million a year. 1 in 10 children attends casualty with post-surgery bleeding after tonsils are removed. And only 10% of children had a sore throat in the 12 months before being offered a tonsillectomy. Now, an education piece here entitled School Seeks Votes to Back Outdoor Plan. Pupils at a Bishopbriggs school are keen to have an outdoor learning area and they need the public's help. Balmoldy Primary School has applied for an Aviva Community Fund for a grant of £20,000 to transform a disused orchard into an exciting new resource to benefit its 379 pupils. At present, the area is heavily overgrown, with fallen fencing making it unsuitable and unsafe for pupils to use. The school's PTA wants to install wooden fencing and a gate, zoning it as an outdoor classroom rather than an extension to the playground. Although some trees will have to be removed to create learning zones, the focus is on keeping as much natural habitation as possible. The plan is to create an area for growing fruit and vegetables, a quiet outdoor reading and sensory area, and a maths and science area. Mini beast habitats, bird boxes and feeders will encourage wildlife and teach pupils about the environment. Outdoor learning has been proven to have a positive and beneficial effect on pupils' mental health, well-being and behaviour. Now, a piece by Campbell Hutchison entitled Care Home Workers Are Muddy Brilliant. Determined work pals tackled a 5k mud-splattered obstacle course to raise vital funds and help beat cancer. Around 26 staff who work for Pacific Care Homes at locations across Glasgow and Renfrewshire teamed up to raise £2,030.81 for Cancer Research UK after completing Race for Life Pretty Muddy Glasgow at Pollock Park in September. Race for Life Pretty Muddy event manager Lauren Robertson attended a special reception at the firm's Lilliburn Care Home in Birdstone Road, Kirkintilloch, to receive the cheque which will fund research so more men, women and children in Scotland and across the UK survive cancer. Finance manager Claire Collins completed the course in 50 minutes. She took part as a tribute to her mum, Ray, who died from breast cancer aged 66 on December the 21st, 2010. Claire, 42, said, "My mum was on my mind every step of the way, which gave me the encouragement to keep going. She's very much missed every day." Many of the people in our Pretty Muddy team knew of someone close to them who had been through cancer. Cancer touches so many families, and it has affected staff members too. The obstacles on the Pretty Muddy course were tough, but the cheering of the stewards and the spectators gave us much needed encouragement. We felt a brilliant sense of achievement when we finally crossed the finish line. Everyone was so generous with donations, and we're delighted with the total we raised, doubling our initial target. It's fantastic news to know that this money will make such a difference to people with cancer in the future. Thanks to the generosity of its supporters, Cancer Research UK spends around £38 million every year on some of the UK's leading scientific and clinical research. Glasgow is home to the Cancer Research UK Beatson Institute, where scientists are exploring how cancer cells grow, survive and spread. 1 in 2 people in the UK will be diagnosed with cancer at some stage in their lives, but cancer survival in the UK has doubled since the early 1970s.
Choir in emotional return to the town hall. Kirkintilloch Male Voice Choir is going home to where it all started nearly 100 years ago. The choir will sing in the newly refurbished Kirkintilloch Town Hall for the first time in 15 years at the homecoming concert on November 30th at 7:30 p.m. It was formed after the First World War when the Pleasant Sunday Afternoon Group met in the Town Hall. For more than 80 years the choir performed there at annual concerts and other events. The venue closed in the 90s, but the determined efforts of many local people led to it reopening earlier this year. Musical director Sally McClellan said, "Kirkintilloch Town Hall holds many magical memories for lots of local people. This is where the choir entertained thousands of people over the years and where they are looking forward to returning on St Andrew's Day. Our 52 choristers are excited to have the opportunity to perform there again. The concert is being sponsored by Archibald Young Limited, Casting Technology in Kirkintilloch. Tickets for the concert are £6 and can be purchased from choir members or by phoning 0141 775 2437. There's a lovely photograph of the choir. I presume it looks like a church that they've maybe performed in, all dressed in their bright red jackets, white shirts and their dicky bow ties. Don't get ripped off online this festive season, says the council. Consumer champions will be given advice in East Dunbartonshire next week as people hit the shops and the websites for Christmas gifts. The Council's Trading Standards team will be providing support and assistance to the public with information stalls at Twecker Healthy Living and Enterprise Centre on Tuesday, November 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. B&Q Strathkelvin Retail Park Bishopbriggs on Wednesday, November 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 and the Regent Centre Kirkintilloch on Thursday, November 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This year, Black Friday takes place on November 23rd with National Consumer Week, NCW, kicking off on Monday, November 26th, dubbed Cyber Monday due to anticipated internet shopping activity. This year, NCW will particularly highlight the consumer rights can be difficult when buying from an online marketplace where traders and private individuals sell goods. Councillor Billy Hendry, convener of the Council's Place, Neighbourhood and Corporate Assets Committee, said, "With Christmas shopping on many people's minds, this is the ideal time to remind residents of their consumer rights, whether they are buying online or in person. I hope as many people as possible will be able to go along to see the team at the information stalls next week." Free advice is also available by calling 0300 123 4510.
And now for some news from the schools, starting with Kilsyth Academy. Maths success. Last week, our team of 4 very talented mathematicians, Catherine Wildsmith and Mark Donnelly, S4, and Josh Chambers and Katie Watkins, S3, represented Kilsyth Academy in the National Enterprising Maths Competition in the Glasgow Science Centre. Competing against state and private schools from across Scotland, our team finished a very credible 16th out of 66 schools, and were the highest placed North Lanarkshire school by some way. Our congratulations to our team. We're all proud of your achievement. Photography Club. Our new photography club, run by Miss Andrew in our art department, started on Monday, November the 12th. This is open to all pupils who will also have the opportunity to submit an entry to the Scottish Civic Trust Photography Competition, a national competition which is open to every school in Scotland. Pupils don't need any previous experience of photography, but if any pupils are interested in trying it out or would like some support to enter the competition, or just want to learn a wee bit more about the subject, the club takes place in room 240 during Monday lunch. MAD Group. Following on from the tremendous community spirit of our fundraising for Teenage Cancer Trust, we are setting up a MAD group in school. MAD is making a difference. This could be fundraising, food hampers, toy collections, or simple random acts of kindness. Mrs. Gordon is looking for pupils from all years to be involved who want to make a difference in the school and the community. There was a P6 Science Day for primary science, and pupils were led through a series of science experiments by the senior science ambassadors and new staff. Last week we welcomed Mrs. O'Brien Milne to the Academy as the newest member of our English department. Mrs. O'Brien Milne joins our permanent staff from St Mungo's High School in Falkirk. This week, Mrs. L. Mellon joins our science faculty as a chemistry teacher. Mrs. Mellon joins us from Margaret Mary's Secondary School in Glasgow. We're delighted to welcome both into our school community. Dates for the diary: S5-6 Parents' Evening on Tuesday, November the 20th, 4:15 until 6:45 p.m. In-service day, the school will be closed to pupils on Monday, November the 19th. Lenzie Academy Remembrance Assemblies. On the morning of November the 9th, Lenzie Academy pupils and staff paused to remember those who gave their lives during the Great War and subsequent conflicts. House assemblies were held, led by senior pupils Dylan, Katie, Gabrielle and Alex. All four had participated in this year's battlefield trip and spoke movingly about that experience and how it relates to the themes of remembrance and reconciliation, especially in this, the centenary year of the signing of the armistice. Thereafter, a period of respectful silence was observed and a wreath was laid by school captains Freya and Grant. Helena, Emily, Abby and Kate played a beautiful rendition of I Vow to Thee, My Country, to bring the assemblies to their conclusion. And there's a photograph of the pupils. One of the girls is holding a poppy wreath, and this was one of the assemblies to mark the centenary of the armistice which ended World War I. The pupils, I think there would be senior pupils, are accompanied by one of the members of staff, and all are wearing a poppy in their blazers. Ross Greer MSP. S3 Modern Studies pupils were pleased to welcome Ross Greer MSP, Green Party, West of Scotland, to Lenzie Academy on Monday, November the 5th. We got to ask Ross lots of questions covering a wide range of issues, and his answers will be very useful for exam preparation. Specific issues covered during the question and answer session with him included Brexit, the AMS electoral system, the work of an MSP, etc. We thank Ross for giving of his time to come along to Lenzie Academy to answer our questions.
Forward-thinking family care. Morrison Community Care Group an award-winning care home operator, has introduced an innovative app platform, StoryCare, into its 2 residential homes, one in Eastern Bartonshire. The team will use the system to improve efficiency in recording care activities and keep family members connected with their loved ones. According to Managing Director of Morrison Community Care Group, Paul Sochi, the new StoryCare software will save staff time and enable families to connect from around the world. The platform has been implemented in Abbotsford House in Glasgow and Abbotsford House Luxury Suites in Mulgai. Paul said, "By using modern technologies such as StoryCare, our staff have more time to care for our residents rather than spending it on paperwork and admin." The platform also enables the care homes to display upcoming activities for residents and photos of recent activities on TV screens around each facility. StoryCare is a senior care software company based in both Glasgow and San Francisco. Its founder, Cameron Graham, started the company in 2016 to help companies in the senior care market transform the way they record their care. Cameron said, "We are delighted to be taking on Morrison Community Care Group as a client." Paul is incredibly forward-thinking, and his care homes are a shining example of how technology can be incredibly beneficial when used in care environments. And that's accompanied by a photograph of Paul and Cameron in front of a TV screen which is showing some of the activities at the Abbotsford House Luxury Suites. Decembeard. Get Growing for Bowel Cancer UK. Hundreds of men up and down the country will grow a beard this December to raise money for Bowel Cancer UK, and it's not too late to sign up and show your support for the campaign too. Taking part in Decembeard is really simple. All you need to do is clean shave on November the 30th and let your facial fuzz grow throughout the month. Already bearded? No problem. Dye, ditch, or decorate your beard and join the campaign. Almost 2,000 men are diagnosed with bowel cancer in Scotland each year, and it's the nation's 2nd biggest cancer killer. However, it shouldn't be, as it's treatable and curable, especially if diagnosed early. Sports broadcaster Jim Rosenthal, celebrity chef Brian Turner, CBE, and Olympian Carl Hester, MBE, are encouraging men to take part. Olympic gold medalist for dressage, Carl has pledged his support for Decembeard. He said, "I'm thrilled to be supporting Decembeard, which is especially personal to me. I've had polyps removed from my bowel and now have annual checkups, but the realization that it could have developed into bowel cancer really hit me. This disease affects 1 in 14 men in the UK. It's a very important cause." Sports broadcaster Jim Rosenthal said, "Dads, brothers, sons, nephews, granddads, uncles, get growing and raise as much as you can. It's easy to do and a great chance to keep your face warm during the winter months. Save lives this December. Start that paragraph again. Save lives this December. Grow a beard and raise funds to support our vital services and life-saving research in Scotland." Charity dates for your diary. Aldi has launched its festive food donation scheme and is calling on charities and food banks to register so that they can receive a free donation this Christmas. As part of the scheme, charities and good causes will be paired with local stores and can collect perishable products such as fruit, vegetables, fresh meat, fish and bread after the store closes at 6 p.m. Aldi is hoping this year's scheme will surpass the 450,000 meals donated to more than 300 charities across the UK last Christmas. Charities should contact Aldi's corporate responsibility team before Sunday, November the 18th, with the following details to apply: the organisation name, the charity number, the organisation focus, for example, soup kitchen, food bank, contact details, the postcode of the 3 nearest Aldi stores. Fritz Wallachek, Managing Director of Corporate Responsibility, said, "We're starting our festive donation scheme even earlier this year to give as many charities as possible the opportunity to apply. We want to give something back to the communities that we serve at such an important time of year."
Now, here we have an article by Kevin McRoberts entitled "Moves to Recruit and Retain More Nurses and Midwives." Plans to increase the number of student nursing and midwifery places have been welcomed as much-needed boost to the profession. Student nursing and midwifery places will increase for the 7th consecutive year, reaching record levels, with the intake rising by 7.6% to more than 4,000. And, as announced by the First Minister in October, all eligible nursing and midwifery students across Scotland will benefit from an increased bursary in 2019-20, rising to £10,000 a year in 2020-21. The Royal College of Nursing, the RCN, Scotland, said it was pleased the Scottish Government had listened to its concerns and recognised the need for more nurses. Eileen McKenna, RCN Scotland Associate Director of Professional Practice at RCN Scotland, said, "Demand for health and social care continues to increase, and nursing vacancy rates are at an all-time high, and a significant number of nurses are reaching an age where they can retire. Having the right number of nurses to meet demand is a fundamental step for the safety of patients and in ensuring that nurses are able to remain in the profession." Dr. Mary Ross-Davy, Royal College of Midwives, that's the RCM, Director for Scotland, added, "The RCM is pleased the Scottish Government have listened to us. This announcement on additional student midwife training places is good news, not only for our maternity services, but particularly for those wanting to become midwives. These additional midwife training places were really needed and will go towards future-proofing Scotland's maternity services to ensure that women and their babies will continue to receive safe, high-quality maternity care." The Scottish Government pointed out that upping intake for the 2019-20 academic year was just one of a number of measures to support the sustained recruitment and retention of NHS staff. In addition to the increase in student places, almost 460 former nurses and midwives have signed up to retrain through the Return to Practice programme since 2015. The Government is also funding the Open University to deliver a pre-registration programme, currently supporting around 116 nursing students. Health Secretary Jane Freeman said, "Our nurses and midwives are critical to the success of our NHS and will continue to be so. We are acutely aware of the demand across Scotland in a variety of settings, and I want to ensure our NHS is well equipped to continue to provide the best possible care for patients." And still with health, patients at risk from medicine misuse. Half of all patients believe the risk associated with common medicines are exaggerated, and many put themselves in danger by ignoring professional advice, according to new research. The survey by the National Pharmacy Association, NPA, also found that 6% of emergency readmissions to hospital were caused by adverse drug reactions. Leila Hanbeck, NPA's Director of Pharmacy, said, "If used inappropriately, medicines have the power to harm as well as to heal. Even medicines you can pick up from a supermarket or a pound shop. So it's important to take professional advice and in particular to have a full and frank dialogue with your local pharmacist."
Winter service for drivers on trunk network. Improved support and information is being made available for drivers using the trunk road network to help keep Scotland moving this winter. These improvements come following the beast from the east weather earlier last year, which saw the Met Office issue its first red weather warning for snow in Scotland since the introduction of the colour-coded warning system. New equipment has been added to the winter fleet. New police travel advice will help give clear guidance to drivers, and the Met Office has launched an online forecast dedicated to conditions in Scotland. The equipment includes a customised Omnibog capable of spreading enhanced liquid de-icer, which will be strategically located for use during high-level snow and flooding events. An electric-powered spreader, which will be deployed as patrol vehicle on the M8. A hilltop ice striker from Finland fitted with a V-plough will be trialled on the M80 to ensure recovery teams will access incidents in the most challenging conditions. As well as the fleet of emergency response vehicles, there will be more than 200 traditional gritters located at 42 depots across the country. Specialist snow plans are being deployed in conjunction with operating companies and Police Scotland for the M8, M74, M77 and the M8. Transport Scotland will also analyse with the haulage industry to ensure its members are aware of conditions. Michael Matheson, Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure and Connectivity, said, "We can't prevent the challenging weather we see during the winter period, but our teams work all year round to ensure we're fully prepared and ready to respond when difficult conditions set in. The challenges faced during the beast from the east are still fresh in the memory, so we have looked to make improvements across the board, from equipment and treatments to information and advice for travellers." While every effort will be made to keep the road network operational, Assistant Chief Constable Mark Williams of Police Scotland stressed drivers also had to be sensible. He said winter driving is a question of common sense, and drivers should ask themselves if they really need to travel when conditions are poor. If you are travelling on the roads, you should ensure you and your vehicle are adequately prepared for the conditions. There is a photograph of one of these ice sort of deployed gritters or whatever. It looks absolutely horrendous. Remember when the snow goes a completely different colour, goes into sort of bankings and puddles.
Here is this week's correspondence, and there are 5 letters. Libraries are a vital resource, sir. I was most disappointed to learn of East Dunbartonshire Leisure Trust's decision to close libraries in Lenzie, Milton of Campsie and Westerton. I think libraries are absolutely vital community assets which offer services and support to local residents of all ages and backgrounds. As someone who grew up in a household which did not have internet access, I can remember my local library playing a vital part in my education as I used its facilities in order to carry out my homework and other assignments. I am absolutely positive that these 3 libraries continue to play an instrumental role in the education of local children today, which would make the loss of them particularly devastating. You only have to look at the wide range of activities which our local libraries now provide to our young people, such as code clubs, which help to improve their IT literacy. It's also worth reflecting on the fact that many of our elderly population rely upon libraries for their resources, while those with benefit claims find themselves increasingly in need of library facilities as the DWP continues to digitise its processes. I do wonder whether East Dunbartonshire Leisure Trust has conducted any sort of socio-economic impact assessment of the effect of these closures on those in receipt of universal credit, for example, where they will be expected to maintain their universal credit account online. I find it absolutely shameful that the Conservative and Liberal Democrat councillors who voted in favour of these proposed closures fail to recognise the detrimental cultural and socio-economic impact that they will have on Lenzie, Milton of Campsie and Westerton. It is just the latest attack that they have inflicted on local people following their failed attempt to railroad cuts to terms and conditions of the council workforce over the summer. But what I find equally shameful is the position of the Scottish National Party in regard to those proposed library closures. It seems disingenuous for SNP councillors and Rona Mackay MSP to rally against these closures whilst failing to recognise that they are symptomatic of the sustained cuts to local government budgets that the Scottish Government has implemented since 2007. The latest cuts in the 2018-19 budget for East Dunbartonshire amounted to £13.6 million, all while the SNP-led Scottish Government sits on a budget underspend estimated at £340 million and refused to consider progressive taxation on the income of the wealthiest in Scotland. I would suggest that councillors reflect on the fact that our libraries are absolutely vital community assets which are worth protecting when this issue comes before full council, and that the SNP representatives of East Dunbartonshire consider lobbying their own Scottish Government to properly invest in local government so that no other vital local services face further risk of cuts or closure. And that was from Chris Barber by email. SNP to blame for cash cuts. Our local councils are responsible for frontline services like education, social care, libraries, roads, building and maintaining houses, and keeping our communities safe, clean and secure, and consequently are at the coalface of delivery in the most day-to-day challenges. It is therefore unseemly at the hysterical hypocrisy of our local politicians who are trying to outdo one another in the blame game of who is responsible for the appalling vicious cuts to the EDC budget. The facts are really quite simple. In 2010, Joe Swinson, Lib Dem MP for Strathkelvin and Bearsden, joined the coalition with the Tories in Westminster and became the chief cheerleader for George Osborne's austerity agenda. Meanwhile, at Holyrood, the SNP government, instead of using the devolved powers and implementing policies to create a more equal and fairer Scotland, embraced the Tory austerity policies and has proceeded to decimate local councils. Since 2013 to 14, the Westminster block grant to Scotland has been reduced by 1.8%, and the SNP government has passed on a massive 7.1% cut to Scottish councils. Rona Mackay SNP MSP, who is outraged at the proposal to close 3 libraries, has consistently voted to cut the budget to her own constituents, as have Gil Patterson MSP and Ross Greer MSP. To add insult to injury, the hapless Finance Secretary, Derek Mackay, has underspent nearly £500 million of the 2017-18 budget and calls it prudent budgeting. You really could not make it up. The SNP, whose rallying cry to the troops is, "It is Westminster's fault," are at long last being found out for their gross mismanagement of Scotland's finances. It was interesting, but not unexpected, that the SNP group on EDC gave up power before it had to deal with the cuts from its own party. The austerity agenda is not an economic necessity but a political choice, and, sadly, the good people of East Dunbartonshire are suffering the consequences of Lib Dems, Tories and SNP embracing that agenda. And that is from Maureen Henry, Lammermoor Gardens, Bearsden. Award for roads seems unlikely, sir. I refer to the article in last week's Kirkintilloch Herald headed Council nominated for award for maintenance of local roads. My initial reaction to that was, really? I then wondered what kind of parallel universe the Association for Public Service Excellence operated in when the EDC has been named as a finalist in the Best Performer for Highways Award. It must surely be that the roads, footpaths, etc. and other local authority areas are in a somewhat parlous state. Let me select one road and one footpath in my locale for the judges to cast their eyes over when the time comes. The road from the top of Boghead Road, Lenzie, to Bishopbriggs, and the stretch of footpath from the top of Gallahill Road, Lenzie, to Beach Road. No doubt there are many other roads and footpaths requiring attention to a greater or lesser extent, which other residents are acquainted with and could add to the list. And that is from Ian W. Thompson, Kirkintilloch Road, Lenzie. Self-justification is not enough. Sir, the term Citizens' Assembly sounds like a meeting of politicians in China, but it's not. It is yet another soundbite from the toothless and irrelevant Kirkintilloch Community Council. The chairman wants us to get together and push for improvements in Kirkintilloch, but did they not do that over a year ago with their pointless survey? I believe people wanted their traffic lights back, that we didn't want the sheer space, but were we listened to? No. How many more consultations are we going to have? The fact is that nobody is listening. We now hear various libraries are going to close despite protests. Even Susan Murray supports these closures. Never mentioned that in her manifesto. I know it's not within the Kirkintilloch Community Council area yet. I wish people would open their eyes. It doesn't matter what the public say at consultations to their councillor, MSP or MP, and especially to the Community Council. They don't listen. So, perhaps after the nonsense the Community Council consultation produced, the chairman could let us know what changed. He says letters were sent to households. I don't remember getting one, so enlighten us, Gordon. What did you actually achieve with the £12,000 you spent on this? Even though you never did explain where this money came from, the Community Council can't do anything. It has no power. It is just trying to justify existence. And that's from Stuart Mann, Doon Road, Kirkintilloch. Disability should not be a barrier. Sir, this month we marked Learning Disability Work Week to celebrate the contributions that people with a learning disability can make in the workplace. Did your readers know that approximately 8 out of 10 working age people with a learning disability have mild or moderate learning disabilities, but less than 2 out of 10 are in employment? We are passionate that having a disability should never be a barrier to people living their lives to the fullest, and I'd like to take a moment to tell your readers how, as a charity, we support people with a wide range of disabilities, providing them with a stimulating environment where they feel valued and are able to flourish. I work for Revitalise, an amazing national charity that provides respite holidays for disabled people and carers. Our holidays are all about enabling our guests to enjoy new experiences and to spend time enjoying each other's company. We create a relaxed environment where our guests can freely interact with one another while building upon their skills and confidence, something that can be incredibly beneficial, not only personally but professionally too. We are proud to be expanding our variety of themed weeks for 2019 with the introduction of specialist weeks dedicated to guests with learning disabilities, packed with everything that our guests usually expect from a revitalised holiday, live entertainment, a variety of excursions, and the opportunity to make new friends. Our Learning Disability Weeks will offer even greater vibrancy. To find out more about Revitalise, call 0303 303 0145, and that's from Stephanie Stone of Revitalise.
Initiative encourages interest in reading. 3/4 of teachers surveyed say their pupils' enthusiasm for reading increased after receiving Read, Write, Count bags. The Read, Write, Count bags, funded by the Scottish Government and containing books for children plus hints and tips for parents, these are gifted every year to families of Primary 2 and Primary 3 children. In a Scottish Book Trust survey, parents, carers and teachers welcomed the bags as a highly valuable resource which had a positive impact at home and in the classroom. Deputy First Minister John Swinney, who presented the latest batch of Read, Write, Count bags to the pupils, said, "We know that increased parental engagement has a significant impact on children's academic achievements. It's often in close family moments like reading at bedtime where a passion for books is ignited, and I'm pleased to note that our Read, Write, Count campaign is successfully encouraging more parents to read with their children at home." And that's accompanied by a photograph of John Swinney with a school pupil, and they are looking at one of the books as part of the Read, Write, Count campaign. Girl Guiding promotes digital opportunities. Girl Guiding Scotland has launched the country's first digital activity badge designed to encourage girls of all ages to develop the skills they need for their digital future. The Digital Scotland Challenge badge was created in partnership with Skills Development Scotland, or SDS for short, and Education Scotland, and aims to empower every girl to make the most of the opportunities technology offers. Research by Girl Guiding has highlighted that science and technology still continue to be perceived as more male subjects. The Digital Scotland Challenge badge aims to change those perceptions and will teach young girls about computers, algorithms, creativity, design, and computational thinking, as well as highlighting career options in the industry. Activities and challenges have been created for rainbows, brownies, guides and rangers, so girls of all ages can get to grips with technology, from mixing beats to animating adventures and designing wearable tech to create a robot maze. And that's accompanied by a photograph of, looks like a mixture of rangers, guides, brownies and rainbows, all sitting in front of a robot. A cause that will speak to the rebel at the heart of all of us. And this is a feature by Liz Gallagher. A feast of fact and fiction has been lined up locally for Scotland's 7th annual celebration of reading. Book Week Scotland, from Monday, November the 19th to Sunday, November the 25th, brings old and young together at local libraries and community hubs. Working with a wide range of partners, Scottish Book Trust, the national charity which aims to change lives through reading and writing, is set to deliver events and activities across the country linked to this year's theme, Rebel. Local people can meet a range of authors at venues across the Eastern Bartonshire area. Fans can meet David Munro, author of the Time Jigsaw series, at Lennoxtown Library and Community Hub on Wednesday, November the 21st from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. The talented author will talk about his path from business professional to published author, as well as touching on plot formulation, getting a publishing deal, and effective marketing. If you're a fan of contemporary crime fiction, don't miss Charles E. McGarry at Bear's Den Community Hub on Wednesday, November the 21st from 7:45 p.m. to 9 p.m, when he will discuss his new novel, The Shadow of the Black Earl. It is his second murder mystery featuring private detective and bon vivant Leo Moran. And best-selling author Mary Paulson Ellis will be at William Patrick Library in Kirkintilloch on Thursday, November the 22nd from 7 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. Mary likes to write about what she calls the murderous side of family life, the dark, quirky and strange. Her debut novel, The Other Mrs. Walker, tells the story of a woman who finds families of the recently deceased. A detective story minus a detective, it follows the intriguing life of a woman who uncovers the identities of those who die alone with no known next of kin. The Other Mrs. Walker is currently on the Times bestseller list and was Waterston's Scottish Book of the Year in 2017. Mary has also been shortlisted as a breakthrough author in the Books Are My Bag Readers Awards and highly commended as a rising star in the Diva Literary Awards 2017. Mark Lambert, CEO of Scottish Book Trust, said, "We're delighted to present another packed programme for Book Week Scotland, our national celebration of reading and writing. After listening to feedback, Scottish Book Trust is pleased to make 100,000 copies of the Rebel book available to the public. Thanks go to our partners and funders for making this programme possible. We hope everyone join us for Book Week Scotland, whether at a physical event or by taking part in our digital festival." Schools across the country are also being encouraged to take part in Book Week, and the 3 picture books shortlisted for the Book Bug Picture Book Prize will be gifted to every Primary 1 pupil in Scotland. Culture Secretary Fiona Hislop said, "As a lifelong and avid reader, I know that there's no greater pleasure than losing yourself in the magic of a book. That's why I welcome the 2018 Book Week Scotland programme, a flagship event of Scotland's culture sector, celebrating books, reading and Scotland's rich literary history, dedicated this year to exploring the theme of Rebel. For the 7th consecutive year, the Scottish Government is proud to support this incredible event, which stems from our commitment to literature and ensuring more people can access and enjoy cultural activity more often. I congratulate Scottish Book Trust and the Scottish Library and Information Council for organising such a fantastic programme of events and activities throughout Scotland. These events can be enjoyed in your home, at school or college, in your local library or at work, as well as online. I encourage everyone in Scotland, especially during 2018 Book Week Scotland, to commit to finding some time to immerse themselves in the world of books." Erin McElhinney, Literature Officer, Creative Scotland, added, "The Scottish Book Trust has produced a programme that offers a whole host of routes into reading and writing, offering a cause to the rebel in all of us. It's a week to celebrate new partnerships and connections between organisations and the public, between digital and the book, and an invitation to challenge our own boundaries around reading." And you can find more information about these events in the Eastern Bartonshire from the website Book Week Scotland. And that article is accompanied by a number of photographs, one of bestseller author Mary Paulson Ellis, one of Charles E. McGarry, and then also David Munro and Time Jigsaw. He's going to be discussing the popular series when he visits Lennoxtown Library during the annual Book Week Scotland celebrations.
Live Aid was a catalyst for Will Aid's launch, and this is a feature by Julie Curry. For anyone who was around in the 1980s, Live Aid was an incredibly motivating event. Spearheaded by Bob Geldof and Midge Ure to help combat the famine in Ethiopia, Saturday, July the 13th, 1985 was the music event of the century. But the global movement also inspired a generation to help others, and that included a group of Scottish solicitors who, having watched the concerts at Wembley and JFK Stadium in Philadelphia, wanted to do something in a similar vein to help. In 1988, Will Aid was launched to do just that. Sadly, the names of the solicitors who first banded together have been lost in the annals of history, but their ambition to raise money for charities to help people both in the UK and abroad has grown from strength to strength. In the intervening years, Will Aid has become a UK-wide initiative, raising £19 million in the last 30 years. In 2017 alone, it raised more than £1 million for the vital work of its charity partners, ActionAid, Age UK, the British Red Cross, Christian Aid, NSPCC, Save the Children, Sight Savers, SCIAF Scotland and Trocare, that's Northern Ireland. And it is hoped a record amount can be raised to mark the 30th anniversary. Peter Davena Franks, campaign director, said, "It all started in Scotland after a group of solicitors, having watched Live Aid, wanted to do something to help. They wanted to use their skills to raise money for charity and came up with the innovative idea of writing wills for free, asking instead for a donation to be split among their chosen charities. Sadly, we don't have their names on record, but we do know they raised thousands of pounds that first year. Will Aid has been held every November since, but has grown to include the whole of the UK. How it works hasn't changed though. People are asked to donate £95 for an individual will or £150 for 2 mirror wills drawn up by participating solicitors. Since 1998, Will Aid has raised a phenomenal £19 million in donations from more than 300,000 wills. But it has actually raised many, many millions more in legacies left in people's wills for our charities. We're hoping to make a record amount in 2018 as we celebrate our 30th year. Some 800 solicitors across the UK are taking part, 177 of them in Scotland. But Peter hopes even more firms will sign up. He said, "Our biggest challenge is getting enough solicitors on board. We're very grateful for the loyalty shown by firms who take part every year. We know it's a real commitment for them to give up time in their already very busy schedules, and it means a great deal to us. But every year we receive more inquiries from the public than we can fulfil. So we'd be delighted to hear from firms who would be willing to sign up. There's still time to take part. More than 50% of the adult UK population have not yet made a will. If you are among that number and would like to take part in Will Aid 2018, it's a simple process." Peter added, "All people have to do is visit our website and type in their postcode. With 177 solicitors in Scotland already signed up, hopefully there will be a participating firm in travelling distance. If so, simply call the firm directly and ask to make a Will Aid appointment. It's as easy as that to join the Will Aid family." McClure Solicitors, which has offices in Greenock, Glasgow, Edinburgh and Aberdeen, is celebrating its 15th year with Will Aid. Last year it raised the second highest amount in the UK and is aiming to take pole position this year. But the firm is unique in that it offers a free will writing service year-round, in return for donations to a charity of people's choice. In the first 9 months of this year alone, McClure's amassed £33 million for charity from its will writing services, the bulk of which came from legacies. Andrew Robertson, the firm's managing director, said, "Undoubtedly November is our busiest month thanks to Will Aid. Everyone should have a will, and most people know that, but they need a wee bit of encouragement to do it. I only got mine done because my wife got hers. From a business point of view, it makes sense for us to offer wills free of charge because we offer a range of paid-for services, which they may be interested in too. Half of the people who come to us to have a will written, and that's it, but the other half take one of our paid services too. Last year we raised the second highest amount for Will Aid. This year we're hoping to be number 1. It makes staff feel good knowing that they're helping charities as well as clients. As for why people should make a will, Andrew added, people think it's all going to go to their children anyway, so there's no point. But if you don't have a will, you can't be sure where your estate is going, and it can cost your family time, money and heartache. Now, the perfect time to make your will. In Scotland, 53% of the adult population have yet to make a will. Of those who do have a will, some 77% put their trust in a solicitor to oversee their final wishes. In Scotland, turning a milestone age, a death in the family, and purchasing a house were the main catalysts for a will. The majority of people who have a will in Scotland wanted to pass on savings and or investments, at 78.21% of them, followed by items of sentimental value, 55.13%, valuables such as jewellery, art and antiques, 43.59%, and life insurance, 38.46%. The main reason for people not having a will in Scotland was not getting round to it, 42.86%. Will Aid helps to encourage more people to get their affairs in order and think about leaving a legacy to charity too. James Tarleton, chair of Will Aid, said, "This year's statistics show that even after 3 decades there is still a need for this campaign and to encourage more people to make their will. Not only does making your will through Will Aid provide peace of mind, but the 9 partner charities use the donations and legacies to reach people in crisis, both here in the UK and around the world. Many people who make wills through Will Aid also support charities through a gift in their will. These legacies make a great difference, and we are very thankful for that support."
New homes released for sale at Roman Fields. Affordable homes available on shared equity. The next phase of contemporary new homes at Roman Fields is now on sale. Great news for buyers seeking a first home or a step up on the property ladder. And thanks to shared equity mortgages available on selected properties, it is now possible to move into one of these brand new homes for less. Sitting close to the ruins of the Roman-built Antonine Wall, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and boasting some of the best views of Twecher, the latest phase of the development features 2 and 3 bedroom terraced and semi-detached houses. From the outside, visitors will be struck by the beauty of the surroundings and the care that has gone into designing bright and spacious homes in a welcoming and safe community perfect for families, professionals and first-time buyers alike. What's more, it's just a 15-minute train ride from Glasgow, ideal for commuting for work or leisure. Alison Sutherland of developer Places for People said, "We are very excited to be on sale with the next phase of Roman Fields. Our last phase was a great success, with many buyers reserving on the new supply shared equity scheme. It works well for first-time buyers and families that don't quite meet the qualification criteria for Help to Buy Scotland. The scheme allows buyers to purchase an equity share between 60% and 80% of the purchase price, with the remaining equity share funded by the Places for People and the Scottish Government. The buyers who own 100% of the property, and unlike other shared ownership schemes, there is no rent to pay. Priority will be given to people living in the local area. There is a lovely photograph next to this article of a very young, attractive little girl called Erin Gibson. She's standing in front of one of what looks like the detached buildings, with children of her own age sort of helping with spades and forks and things. She has actually put the finishing touches to her winning design for the Roman Fields Show Home Garden, where she is a pupil of Primary 7 in Twecher Primary. Her classmates are all jumping for joy by the looks of it. Now, who remembers the Crankies? The popular pair are back on Glasgow's Panto stage. Glasgow's much-loved pair, the Crankies, will return to the Armadillo to star alongside funny men Gavin Mitchell, Jonathan Watson and actress and singer Frances Thornburn in Cinderella from 12th of December. Legendary double act The Crankies will play Baron Hardup and Buttons. Joining the Crankies and proving he's still game for the world of pantomime, Gavin Mitchell stars with them as one of the Ugly Sisters alongside well-known Scottish actor and comedian Jonathan Watson. Ensuring Cinderella will go to the ball, Frances Thornburn joins them as the fairy godmother. The actress, singer and songwriter is best known for her role as Kim Munro in the BBC's River City. Cinderella will be once again produced by the Oliver Award-winning team Kudos Entertainment. Cinderella takes place at the SEC Armadillo from December 12th to the 30th.
This week in history, worldwide events from November the 14th to the 20th. November the 14th, 1948. Prince Charles, first child of the Queen, then Princess Elizabeth, and the Duke of Edinburgh, was born in Buckingham Palace in London at 9:14 p.m. Charles's birth was the first royal birth not attended by the British Home Secretary, who in earlier times was required to be present to witness and verify the births of royal children. November the 15th, 1940. Much of Coventry was devastated by a massive raid by 515 German Luftwaffe bombers. The raid, which lasted more than 10 hours, also destroyed the 14th century cathedral. November the 16th, 1988. Benazir Bhutto was elected Prime Minister of Pakistan, becoming the first female Prime Minister of a Muslim nation. She was killed by a suicide bomber in 2007. November the 17th, 1558. Elizabeth I became Queen of England following the death of her half-sister Mary I. She was 25 years old and would reign for 45 years. Known as the Virgin Queen, she never married. Her reign was considered a golden period of English history. November the 18th, 2000. Welsh actress Catherine Zeta-Jones married Hollywood star Michael Douglas, son of Kirk Douglas, at the Plaza Hotel in New York. November the 19th, 1994. The UK's first ever lottery draw took place in a live television broadcast hosted by Noel Edmonds. The jackpot of just under £6 million was shared between 7 lucky ticket holders. The winning numbers were 30, 3, 5, 44, 14 and 22. The bonus number was 10. November the 20th, 1945. 20 leaders of Nazi Germany went on trial in Nuremberg, Germany, charged with war crimes. The tribunal consisted of the United States, the Soviet Union and Britain. The accused included Hermann Göring, commander of the Luftwaffe, Admiral Karl Donitz, who became German president following Hitler's death, and Albert Speer, Hitler's architect. Some news from around the area. Kirkintilloch Players. The Kirkintilloch Players have started to rehearse for their next panto, which will be the ever-popular Aladdin. This will be staged in Campsie Memorial Hall in January 2019. Tickets will be on sale from November the 16th via the Kirkintilloch Players website. Tickets always sell very quickly, so don't delay. Horticultural Society. The Garden Club meeting took place on Thursday in Enterprise House, Kirkintilloch. The speaker was Dr. Alexandra Schlenzig, and her topic was non-native plant pests, outlining the risks they pose for the garden and environment. Anyone interested in coming along to the meetings will be made welcome, or you can call Errol Birchall on 0141 776 5978 for more information. Milton of Campsie Rural. The next meeting was on Wednesday evening, where there was a demonstration of calligraphy from David Young. Steps Floral Art. Steps and District Floral Art Club will hold its annual Christmas open night on Monday, November the 19th in Garfield House Hotel Steps at 7:30 p.m. The demonstrator will be Enid Reid with her title Christmas Spirit. Raffle, tombola and sales tables. Ticket costing £10 includes refreshments. Contact Agnes on 779 5395 or Marie on 779 1796.
This is now the community pin board, and we'll be giving you all the special events at the various churches around the district. First of all, Springfield Cambridge Church. The 65th Girls Brigade Company is holding a social evening in the church on Saturday, November the 17th from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. in celebration of the 125th anniversary of the Girls Brigade. Tickets can be obtained from any officer at a suggested donation of £5 per adult and £3 per child. Kenmure Parish Church. Along with 1,000 other churches throughout the UK, we will be hosting a big quiz night in aid of Cheer Fund, starting at 6:45 p.m. this Saturday. Tickets cost £5, with all of the cost going to Cheer Fund. Please note that the Kenmure Guild will not be meeting this Monday, but returns the following Monday. St Cyprian's Church in Lenzie. On Saturday, November the 17th, our annual pet blessing service is at 11 a.m. All pets are welcome and are very welcome to bring their owners as well. Also coming up is our Christmas fair on Saturday, November the 24th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Entry is free. It's a great event. Please come and join us. Lenzie Union Parish Church. On Saturday, November the 17th, there's a performance in the new hall at 7:30 p.m. starring Sharon and Rosie, Bearsden Young Fiddlers, Graham Sherry. The tickets are £7 in aid of Alzheimer's Scotland, and tickets can be obtained from Sheila Milligan, 776 0332. Milton of Campsie Parish Church. On Friday, we are having another fish and film night. The film tells the story of Eric Liddell's work as a missionary in China, including his internment and death following the invasion by Japan. Shoeboxes or bits and pieces to go in them are being collected for Operation Christmas Child. They need to be in on Sunday, November the 18th at the latest. As Phyllis is on holiday, the Reverend Alistair McLachlan is taking the monthly service at Birdstone Care Centre and Lilyburn Care Home on Sunday at 2 p.m. Milliston United Free Church. On Saturday, November the 17th, we are hosting Tier Fund's Big Quiz, a nationwide multi-site quiz to raise funds for Syrian refugees in Lebanon, and an opportunity to have fun at the same time. Anybody is welcome to come and join a team or bring a team. On Sunday at 11 a.m, we begin a short series of sermons looking at how God was preparing the way for the coming of his Son, Jesus. If you would like more details about the big quiz or any of our other activities, or if you would like to talk more generally about faith and life, please phone the Pastor David Miller on 07975 531 585.
Now we've got one or two public notices. The first is about a road closure. Union Street in Kirkintilloch is going to be closed between the junctions with Cowgate and Oxford Street between 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night on Saturday the 1st of December. And the members' surgeries, the councillors, the Bishopbriggs South, that's Gordon Lowe. He'll be at the Auchennairn Early Years and Community Centre on the 21st of November from 7:15 p.m. till 8 o'clock. And the Bishopbriggs South Alan Moyer, councillor, Auchennairn Early Years and Community Centre, same place but on the 17th of November from 10:30 in the morning until 11. He'll also be at the Bishopbriggs Library and Community Hub the same day from 11:15 till 12. Councillor Gillian Rennick from Lenzie and Kirkintilloch South, she'll be at the Kirkintilloch Leisure Centre on the 21st of November from 5 until 6 in the evening. Kirkintilloch East and North and Twycher, that's John Jimison, he'll be at the Twycher Healthy Living and Enterprise Centre on the 16th of November from 6 till 6:30, and he'll be at the Hairstains Community Hub on the 16th of November, same day, from 6:45 p.m. until 7:15. And Stuart MacDonald of Kirkintilloch East and North and Twycher, he'll be at the Twycher Healthy Living and Enterprise Centre on the 21st of November from 5:30 in the evening till 6, and the Hillhead Community Centre the same day from 6:15 till 6:45. And the junior football, Rabs Rain in the Rain to reach next round of West. Rob Roy won 3-1 against St Anthony's. Rob Roy made heavy weather of seeing off West of Scotland Cup opponent St Anthony's in torrential rain at Guy's Meadow on Saturday. But in the end, Stuart Maxwell's side did enough to book a place in the second round and another home tie with Thornywood United. Lower League Ants went close to a shock opener in the 6th minute, while Sean Gallagher saw his volley hit the top side of the bar and go over. But in the 12th minute, Rabs also had an effort hit the bar, and it led to the opener. A Gavin Mackey shot rattled the woodwork, and with Rabs players being more alert to the second phase, Joe Slattery's cross from the right was headed in at the back post by Gary Carroll. St Anthony's responded, and Roy keeper John Hutchison made a mess of a cross from the right, before at the other end Connor Hughes' cross from the left was too strong for his teammates. On the 17th minute, Ants keeper Owen McCallum made a great save from Carroll, but was scrambling 2 minutes later as Graham Ramage's left foot shot went narrowly past. McCallum then saved a curling free kick from Ramage, and then a surging run down the right from Young ended with his shot going narrowly past the right-hand post. However, Ants were dangerous on the counter, and John Ball saw his effort blocked after a break from striking partner Scott Arthur. 5 minutes later, clever play from Ramage saw his cross put into the net by Hughes, but referee Gentles ruled the effort out for offside. Michael Toohey saw his goal-bound shot deflected over in the 37th minute, but a minute later it was 2-0. McCallum made a great save from a Carroll free kick, but Ramage was quickest to the loose ball and weaved past 3 defenders before calmly dinking the keeper. The Roy increased the pressure, and efforts from Toohey, Ramage and Jordan Curry McLean went close before the Ants broke again, and Hutchison did well to save Mark McElvenney's shot. After the break, a Hughes effort went wide before Slattery curled a shot over the bar. The pressure continued. Carroll shot over by being set up by Slattery, and substitute Alberto Vezza had an effort blocked for a corner from which Carroll headed over Mackey's cross. McCallum saved Curry McLean's effort, and then did well to keep out Vezza's strike for a corner kick. Then, from a Ramage cross, Vezza headed over, and a minute later his effort hit the bar as the Ants struggled to cope with the energetic striker. Substitute Willie Sawyers headed over before, in the 72nd minute, the Ants were given a lifeline when the referee penalised Michael Daly for holding Arthur in the box, and Mark McElvenney shot low past Hutchison from the penalty. As the rain came down in torrents, the Roy pushed forward, and Vezza's spectacular overhead kick was narrowly wide. McCallum saved well from Curry McLean, but the keeper was eventually beaten in the final minute when Ramage sent Curry McLean free the right, and his surging run ended with a powerful shot that flew high into the net.
Rugby. Allan Glens remain top of the Tennent's West Division 1 table after an 84-17 win over DL at Beeryards. Although this game was not as one-sided as the score suggests, Glens were in the lead from early on as Russell McEwen collected the kick-off and waved his way through the visiting defence to open the scoring. 10 minutes later, Glens' Alistair McConnell hacked ahead a loose ball, picked up and touched down between the posts. It was Grant Henderson's turn next when he picked up a loose ball on his own 22 and beat the opposition to the touchdown, and a break by Fraser Moore sent Sam Morrison in for the bonus points. Scott Thompson was in fine kicking form and converted all 4 tries. All through the game so far, DL has been holding their own in scrum and line-out, but were being let down by final pass jitters. However, they were rewarded with a try when Alan Bowles barged over from short range. But Glens finished the first half scoring when McEwen completed a good back move to make the half-time score 42-5. The second half followed much the same lines as the first, with Glens running in another 6 tries, all converted. First, Jonah Morrell scored from a driving maul, then Henderson completed a move in which all the backs were involved. At this point, when DL were pressing, they were awarded a penalty try for a late tackle. But Glens took the initiative and McEwen scored again, finishing an interpassing move by the backs. A 5-metre scrum on the visitors' line culminated in Morrell's forcing his way over before Sean Lennon broke from the halfway line and outpaced the DL defence to touchdown. Again, DL made some headway and Andrew Scott forced his way over in the corner. Andrew Glover converted. But Glens had the last say when Lennon took a quick penalty on his own 22 and catch the visitors napping, ran in to score the final try. This week's Glens a break from league action when they face Greenock Wanderers at home in the semi-final of the West Regional Shield, kick-off 1:30pm. The second 15 are also at home to GHK, kick-off is noon. Lenzie had a comfortable 52-0 bonus point win against Millbrae to continue their unbeaten run and stay top of West Division 2 for a 10th successive victory. Lenzie played very well against a hard-working Millbrae side, and coach James Lamar will be delighted for his side to keep another clean sheet. The home side dominated the set piece and opened the scoring with a pushover try. Hamish McAllister added a second when he snipped over from a ruck close to the Millbrae try line, and Craig Bryson completed the scoring in the first half when he barged through following a good break by McWilliams. Peter Burns converted this try to take the score to 17-0 at half-time. With both the line-out and scrums functioning well for the home side, the pattern of the game continued in Lenzie's favour, with McAllister and Bryson both bagging their second tries. Mackenzie, Carmichael and Fraser were all showing up well for Lenzie's forwards, and Lenzie ran in a further 3 tries, with Burns adding the conversions for a dominant victory. Man of the match was awarded to Hamish McAllister. This week's Lenzie are at home to Loch Lomond with a 2pm kick-off.
Tennis ace Maya takes biggest win of career. Lenzie tennis star Maya Lumsden has ended her year on a high by taking her first ITF $25,000 tour title. The 20-year-old won the tournament at Shrewsbury last week, defeating Russia's Valeria Savinsk in 3 sets in the final. Maya not only won the tournament unseeded, but she had to come through qualifying to simply earn a place in the main draw. But after winning 2 qualifying matches, she carried on that form in the tournament proper, winning 5 matches. Highlights included a 7-5, 6-love quarter-final win over Austrian number 3 seed Barbara Haas, a player ranked over 170 places above Maya. A 3-set win over Belgium's Griet Minnen then took Maya, who had won all her previous matches in straight sets, into her second ITF final of the year. In the final, Maya, who was runner-up in the Glasgow tournament in January, took the opening set 6-1, but Savinsk hit back to win the second 6-4. However, Maya stayed strong to win the decider 6-3 and take the biggest win of her pro career on her 3rd match point. She told the Kirkintilloch Herald, "It was a great week. A bit unexpected, but it turned out really well. It was a really strong event because it was one of the last ones of the year, so it was just a case of trying to qualify for the main draw, and once I got through, then taking it one match at a time." Maya continued, In the quarter-finals, I was playing the third seed, who is ranked 190 in the world, and the top seed was 110 in the world. So there were a lot of players higher ranked than me, which is why it was unexpected. The tournament puts on a really good event, and there were a lot of people there compared to some of the other tournaments. I walked on to 500 miles, and I started really well in the final. She came back in the second set. She's quite a good fighter, and I knew that in the third set I had to step it up, and I managed to do that. I was delighted with a little bit of relief because it was my third match point, and they played 500 miles again after the match point, so it was quite funny. Maya, now ranked 376 in the world, up from 584 last year, has completed her professional schedule for the year, but will be part of the British Universities team at next month's International Championship in Grenoble. And there is a photograph of Maya. She's holding up the silver salver which she received. She is wearing a pink top with a t-shirt underneath and a black tennis skirt, and she has one sleeve holder which is black on her right arm, and she looks absolutely delighted with her win.
Rossvale go marching on with emphatic cup victory. Rossvale demolished Derby rivals Ashfield with a 5-1 win in their West of Scotland Cup first round clash at the Peugeot Ashfield Stadium. Gordon Moffat's side were in charge from the off, and the first goal came before most of the support had taken their seats. Liam McGonagall's efforts came off a defender and landed for captain Jamie Hunter to fire a terrific shot into the far corner. Matt Niven's header brought out a good save from home keeper McLennigan before Ashfield came close when Parker whipped in an excellent cross to Hearton, whose effort went past. Rossvale should have doubled their tally on 15 minutes. A long ball from keeper Gordon found McGonagall inside the Ashfield box, but his shot went narrowly past. McGonagall and Chris Zock then tore the defence apart with some slick passing, but McGonagall's final shot was wide. A hard task for Ashfield got even more difficult on the 25-minute mark when Cochrane was sent off for dissent. But 3 minutes later they were level. The Vale defence switched off as the ball was headed to the back post, where McManus headed the ball into the bottom corner. After this, it was nearly all Rossvale attack, but the sides remained level until 12 minutes into the second half, when the visitors struck twice in a minute. First, Gary Giffin buried a first-time effort after Zock and McGonagall both had shots blocked. Giffin then crossed for Zock to blast past the helpless McLennigan. Vale would have scored again 2 minutes after that, when they were awarded a penalty for a heavy tackle on McGonagall by Passmore, but McGonagall was denied by a great save by McLennigan. Rossvale added another 6 minutes from time as McGonagall beat his defender and slipped the ball past the advancing keeper. With a minute to go, Josh O'Hare found McGonagall at the edge of the box, and he finished well. And that's accompanied by a photograph of Jamie Hunter, who opened the scoring for Rossvale at Ashfield.
Now, more football, this time Campsie Minerva, who went down 2-1 to Greenock HSFP on Saturday, in what was only their fourth Foster's Central Scotland AFL Premier Division game of the season, due to call-offs and cup ties. Already behind with their fixtures, and with both Ferguson and High Park facilities deemed unplayable again due to the weather conditions, Minerva felt that they had no option other than to take the game to the St Pat's surface in Kilsyth. Neither keeper saw much action in the opening 20 minutes. Minerva manager Grant Mackey put the emphasis on retaining possession in the middle of the park, and Minerva saw much more of the ball than their opponents in the first half. But the Campsie team did very little in the way of turning this possession into clear-cut chances, and it was indeed Greenock who had the first real opportunity, keeper Matthew Barr turning a point-blank shot round the post for a corner. Minerva were certainly up for a scrap, but there was no real further goal-mouth action for the remainder of the first half. Minerva seemed to up a gear in the second half, with Jonathan McWilliams continuing his good form, and once again were seeing much more of the ball than their opponents. But with only 10 minutes of the second half played, the visitors opened a scoring. A quick break down the right by James Taylor took him to the Minerva byline, and he floated across into the 6-yard box, where Eddie Brogan had all the time in the world to nod past a despairing Barr. Minerva pressed for an equaliser, and it eventually came in the 86th minute. A free kick was floated into the box by Andy Graham, and Colin Hanna latched onto it and sent his shot goalwards. It looked all ends up a deserved equaliser, but came back off the post. However, thankfully Minerva centre-half Stephen McGregor was on hand to smash the rebound into the roof of the net. Minerva continued to push for the winner, but it was not to be, and it got worse in the 89th minute. Greenock got their second after what looked like abysmally poor defending. 3 Greenock players waiting unmarked in the Minerva box, with the ball falling to Teddy Shovlin, who simply couldn't miss. Hairstains. They played their way into the second round of the Cinema Cup, with a good second-half performance and a 2-0 win over Drumchapel. The first half was fairly even. Both sides had chances to score, but neither side could capitalise and achieve a leading position. Drumchapel did come close with a shot that was just cleared off the line. At the other end, Hairstains were denied by an excellent save as the keeper cleared for a corner. This gave Fitzsimmons a heading opportunity, but he sent the ball wide. On the stroke of half-time, Drumchapel broke upfield, only to be denied by Munro's great save. Hairstains took command in the second half to carve out a victory. They came close by determined work by Wilson. He played in Broadfoot, who crossed, but Fitzsimmons could only head over. Broadfoot then had a chance, but curled the ball wide. Broadfoot had another chance, but sent Ramsey's cross wide, and the visiting keeper then pulled off another good save as Fitzsimmons broke through the Drumchapel defence. However, Hairstains took a deserved lead halfway through the half when a 25-yard free kick was sent in wide, left by Fitzsimmons. Hairstains then sealed the match with another fine goal from Fitzsimmons, Ramsey sending the ball through for him to neatly turn and shoot low into the left corner. Hairstains tote, no winner, £100 rollover. Now for athletics. The Kirky Olympians. Athletics Club Kirkintilloch Olympians enjoyed a highly successful day at a recent national 90 relays at Cumbernauld. The club's juniors performed well, and there was a fine 11th place for the men's team. But pride of place went to the W50 team of Viv Fraser, Alison Law and Mary McCord, who took the silver medal with a second place finish behind Springburn Harriers. There was also success for former Lindsay Academy pupil Valencia Wright, who blitzed through from 7th to 1st place to help her new club Giffnock North take the mixed age girls race. Now back to football. Improving Rabs face Troon test. Rob Roy boss Stuart Maxwell says Saturday's match with Troon is a massive one for the Kirkintilloch club. Both sides are hovering just above the relegation zone in a tight premiership table, and a win for Rabs could allow them to steal a march on their rivals. Maxwell said, "It's a massive game for us. If we can win to go above Troon, and if other results go our way, we could get a wee gap." After an early season injury nightmare, Maxwell feels his squad is gradually getting to where he wants it to be. He rang the changes for Saturday's West of Scotland Cup tie with St Anthony's and now feels he has a healthy competition for places. He said, young Dylan Young, who I've got on loan from Stirling Albion, made his debut and was terrific. Cammy Clark, who hasn't played for a few games, was terrific. And Graham Ramage came back into the team and never did himself any harm. There are boys who are looking to cement a starting jersey, so it gives us a competition for places. I'm challenging them to grab a starting place. We still have 4 injuries, but we've got a healthy squad now, and we're showing steady signs. Now that's the end of the recording today. We will be back on the 12th of December, which will be the last recording for 2018. We start again on the 9th of January 2019. The closing music today is the Hymn to the Fallen, featuring Catherine Jenkins.